Okay, so this is my somewhat new stereo that I've hooked up, and it's kind of ghetto. The first part being that is a Philips Magnavox stereo from like 1990 something, like 98. The sharp speakers, not so much; those are pretty good. And then we come over here to the three subs, two Kenwood W3085s. They are bridged in the box, coming out of the box at 4 ohms, and then this is my 4 ohm magnum sub, and they both go over to my amp over here, which is a 1000-watt RE audio, and you can't really see back there at all, but the 2 wires go in there, so it's at 2 ohms. I used the multimeter; it's at like 2.6 ohms, but yeah, that's on. I have the believe it or not, little Xbox 360 power supply. My Xbox exploded, so I had that laying around, but that's pretty helpful. These other speakers are for this surround sound system, but that's just for surround sound. This is purely for bass. And for the powered subwoofer output, I just hooked a Y splitter for my left and right channel and ran it to the amp, and it gives a little bit of feedback. I don't know if you can hear it, but so you can hear a little bit of feedback in there. And but yeah, so I'm not gonna really be able to test it today because both my parents are sick, so they're just upstairs kind of like sleeping pretty much, so I can't really turn up super loud at all. But I mean, I can give you just a little taste of what it sounds like, but it shakes just about everything down here. And so yeah, we'll put this at like 5, and just put Young Jeezy, just put on, because that's one of the bassiest songs I have at like a low volume. But yeah. So it's like not even remotely flexing, but I mean, if you were to feel them, you could feel them, but the camera doesn't pick it up at all. But yeah, they're flexing pretty good. And but yeah, so I'll make a part 2 maybe tomorrow when people aren't asleep. But yeah, just for now, this is kind of what I got hooked up. But yeah, so it works good. And before, I just had that Magnum hooked up, and it hit pretty good. But I grabbed these two Kenwoods out of my trunk, just because eventually this amp is going to replace the 600-watt audio bond I have, but I wanted to see what the subs are going to sound like first. And since it's all snowy out, I didn't really want to get out there and work on it, so I just kind of brought them in the house. But yeah, bridged at 2 ohms. The amp is 1000 watts, and even at that, still seems to be a little underrated, because I mean, yeah, it even for this sub right here, this is rated at this is a 500-watt sub or some crap like that, and it was only at 4 ohms, and I was afraid to keep turning it up because the sub was like hitting hard. But yeah, so enough of me random babbling. I'll get a part 2 up soon.